And we're back with one of our signature issues here at KGET, Kern's sober reality. There are more than 10,000 deaths nationally due to DUIs, 1,100 of them happening here in California. 17's Ileana Capellan joins us this morning with more on this problem. Ileana?
Maddie, CHP reports between 2018 and 2020, there were 92 fatal collisions. Between 2018 and 2020, Wofford Heights had 19 victims injured or killed by drunk drivers. One of those victims being Cassidy Phillips.
Driving while under the influence. Driving while intoxicated. No matter what you call it, if your blood alcohol content is over 0.08 and you're behind the wheel, you are breaking the law and risking the lives of others and yourself.
Drunk driver, a person who is a habitual drunk driver, has driven about 70 times before they're even caught. So we also know that every 60 seconds, there's someone who's being injured by a drunk driver someplace in the country.
That's exactly what happened in the case of Cassidy Phillips on October 25th, 2019. It was her 17th birthday. She was walking with her friend when an alleged drunk driver, Heidi Jeremiah, hit and killed Cassidy and then fled the scene. Jeremiah was released on $40,000 bail 2 days after the incident.
If they're able to afford bail, they're released from custody. They're still supposed to refrain from drinking. There's conditions that the court will put on you as part of the bail terms. And usually that includes you can't go to any bars, you can't have any measurable amount of alcohol in your system. So there are some conditions that they place on that.
When the investigation of the accident was completed by CHP, the DA's office filed the case on March 11, 2020, and an arrest warrant was issued for $100,000. On June 8th, Jeremiah posted bail again. Her preliminary hearing is now set for June 2nd. On average, it can take anywhere from 10 business days up to a couple of months before a preliminary hearing is held.
It is common for cases to be around for more than a year, more than 2 years before they're actually tried. And when it comes to some homicides, sometimes it takes 3 years before you try a case, which is unfortunate. We really want to try cases sooner than that.
Marcano says sentencing for felony DUIs can vary from 4 years to 6 years to 10 years in jail, depending on the circumstances of the case. Usually, if it's a first-time misdemeanor offense, there is no jail time unless the case involves a fatality.
The penalties are just not harsh enough, in my opinion, to really have an impact on most people. And I think that's really one of the reasons why there are so many repeat offenders.
Jeremiah could see up to 10 years for gross vehicular manslaughter and an additional 5 years for fleeing the scene, depending on the decision of the judge and jury.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving says that over 50% of offenders are repeat DUI offenders. Most have driven under the influence at least 70 times before they are caught. I spoke to the Phillips family, and they are still having a very difficult time mourning the loss of Cassidy. Her mom tells me she still has nightmares of the crime scene and wants people to know the effects drinking and driving can have. Now, last night, BPD performed a DUI checkpoint between 6 and midnight. 927 vehicles were screened, and 3 drivers were arrested for driving under the influence. In studio, Ileana Capellan, 17 News.
I think what's so frustrating is this is something that's totally preventable.
Yeah.
And it is, you look about that 17-year-old and how just taken so soon and just absolutely tragic. And there's so many families that are dealing with these tragedies.
Yeah. There are so many options out there to get home safely.
Absolutely.
And not put
and
yourself or others at risk.
That's another thing too, is speak up if you think that someone's had too much to drink.